I'd like to welcome the president of the El-Hibri Foundation to the stage to share some remarks on behalf of the foundation. Please give it up over here for Farhan Latif.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Maz, thank you for keeping me as your central point for all your jokes this evening. And thanks for kicking off this evening. And congrats on your 4th Kennedy Center performance that's coming up. Congratulations. And, you know, although the Oscars and Emmys have moved away from hosting and having their host lists, we still believe in one, so thank you for being our host tonight. And Meryl, thank you for your insightful invocation. You know, and reminding us to see through the lens of our shared humanity. You've been a good friend to the foundation, a fearless ally, and a very generous mentor. And we want to also take this moment to applaud your 10 years of leading the Inclusive America Project, as well as hosting one of the most impactful iftars here in DC. So please give a round of applause to Meryl. Thank you. So good evening and assalamu alaikum, everyone. How's everyone doing? It's hard to follow Maz here, but it's so great to see you all here tonight. We've been, you know, thinking about this evening, and it's during these hectic times, we believe that you really need to take a moment and pause and reflect for moments of time and you know, think about what's going well and to be grateful for the small and big things that we have in life. And, you know, my daughter and I at night, when I'm putting her to bed, will sometimes look through my phone and see some pictures together. And as I try to share some of those stories when we look through those pictures, the other night an image came up which really caught my attention and got me thinking. And it's been something that's been on top of my mind for the past year. It's a trend, and it's something that we just don't talk enough about. Some time ago, we were getting ready for a retreat at the foundation, and the foundation is right across the street. It's one of those days when people are flying in from all over the country, and we're all meeting in the lobby, and people are hugging one another, and it's one of those reunions of organizers and mobilizers, and we're catching up. And you know, this convening was an important one. Tensions were expected to be high. A lot of sensitive topics to navigate, and years of trauma to unpack, or what we call just another typical EHF retreat. And I get a phone call from one of my co-organizers, a friend of mine, and he says, you know, let's go and grab a bite of lunch before the convening kicks off. So we go, and while we're having lunch, suddenly I look over to my friend, and he looks perplexed. He's not focusing on the conversation anymore. His face looks flushed, and he excuses himself from the lunch and returns a few minutes later, drenched in sweat. And by this time, we're ready to leave, and as we step out in front of the seafood restaurant, he collapses onto the ground. He complains that his arm is hurting, chest pain, he's feeling dizzy, and his heart is racing. And as I try to lift this 6-foot man off the ground and try to lean him against a car, I rush inside to grab a glass of water and call 911 immediately. And when I come back, you know, he looks at me and says, Farhan, I'm okay. It's going to be all right. Let's just go back to the foundation. I'm going to be okay. And I said, absolutely not, dude. We're going to call 911. We're going to get you to the hospital. And by the time the ambulance arrived, my friend was passing out. And as we rode to GW Hospital, I sat at the back of the ambulance and the paramedics started shouting the questions. What's your age? What drugs are you on? What are you smoking? Unfazed by the racial profiling, he whispered back and said, I'm going to be fine. 10 minutes into the drive, his vitals start to stabilize, and I can see he's getting a sense of where he is. He starts to look around for his phone, and he could see my panic-stricken face. So he puts his arm and his arm around my shoulder and tries to take a selfie. We both cracked a smile, but we knew things are not okay. That's the selfie my daughter saw. A picture of a man who had just had a panic attack, a term that only became clear to us weeks and months later. And as I've shared this story now with my friends and colleagues and other nonprofit leaders who work in this space, I'm amazed to find out how many people have had similar experiences. Our community leadership is often under tremendous stress. Does that sound about right? And deals with these challenges in isolation and in silence. We need to let our leaders know that we are there for them, that we see them, that we pray for them, that we recognize the sacrifices they're making, and that they do not bear the burden alone. So tonight is a small gesture in sending that message. And I want to thank everyone here for joining us in sending that message to the folks here tonight. So thank you. Expressing gratitude is not just a value that we cherish deeply at EHF. It's something that I learned at home from my parents, and it's embedded in many faith traditions. Islam reminds us to be grateful. In one of the stories from the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, we heard growing up, it is said, and I quote, the most grateful of people to God are those who are most grateful to others. And I believe this quote really informs our theory of change for this evening. So let me express my gratitude to the 300 plus people who are in this room tonight. This room, this community, mashallah, is made up of so many accomplished individuals who have a high empathy quotient. And you see things in the world that are broken and have the courage, inclination, and desire to fix it. So thank you all. Although there was one phone call I received that said, if I'm not winning, I'm not coming here to just clap for other people. But let's focus on who's here tonight. Tonight is about expressing gratitude and celebrating the achievements of three incredible human beings, Shamar, Pastor Bob, and Dahlia. So let me tell you a little bit about them. Shamar is an organizer, agitator, advocate, and master alliance builder. He has been instrumental in building the capacity of Iman and the communities it supports. He's led trainings on community organizing and racial equity. And thanks to his leadership, 1,500 community organizers and campaign leaders have been trained across the nation, many of which are also in the room. People have said about Shamar, and I quote, I don't know what greater influence a person can have in the American Muslim community than to plant the seed of hope, opportunity, and self-worth in people that society has neglected, and to help those seeds grow in ways that transform this world and positively impact the people in it. Shamar, thanks to your mentorship over the years as a community-embedded leader, hundreds have benefited. And many of those folks come back to Chicago's South Side to follow in your footsteps. Shamar, you've been an educator, trailblazer, and a tireless advocate on criminal justice reform, food insecurity. You are truly a community builder, and we are so pleased and honored to name you as our 2019 Community Builder Award recipient. Congratulations. Pastor Bob. Pastor Bob is a humanitarian, preacher, practitioner, and a transformative bridge builder. During a time when political polarization is at an all-time high, and associating with Muslims comes with personal and professional risks, he could have chose to ignore the rising tide of hate. But instead, he chose to collaborate with Imam Majid and Rabbi Saperstein to create the Multi-Faith Network and travel across the nation and the globe, fostering relationships between faith groups that are often suspicious and even at times hostile. Pastor Bob, thanks to your efforts, 180 clergy, representing nearly 500,000 congregants, have participated in your programs. People who've walked into your retreats have walked in skeptical about their Muslim neighbors and have walked out being first responders when mosques are attacked. Pastor Bob, at times you have lost congregants and contributions because of your fearless allyship. Thank you for using your power, privilege, and platform for advocating for inclusion, and congratulations on being named a Fearless Ally for 2019. You can see Dalia's nervousness. And moving on to Dalia. Dalia is a data expert, author, pollster, researcher, mother, inspire, influencer, and change agent. She has been featured on CNN, The Daily Show, Davos, Aspen, Chautauqua, and on the TED stage. She's been an advisor on important commissions and task forces, and her book has been translated into 20 languages. For nearly anyone, any of these achievements alone would be considered the pinnacle of one's life or career. But not only has Dalia performed all of them, they're quite metaphorically speaking just the tip of the very deep iceberg. Thanks to Dalia's leadership, American Muslims mobilized 3,000 days of service in response to President Obama's call for community service. As director at ISPU, and her team, many of which are here tonight, established the American Muslim Poll, providing evidence-based insights to government and media. Her research advances inclusion in America. It has helped educate policymakers and train 1,000 public school educators to prevent bullying. And Dalia, as someone who's had a chance to work alongside you, I know a little of what lies beneath the waterline. The personal sacrifices you make, the incredible toll it takes to compartmentalize. I see the Islamophobic attacks against you and the hit pieces from community trolls. And yet you wake up every morning presenting indisputable and invaluable information. Thank you for being a mentor, advisor, and big sister to so many in our community. And for this and for much more, congratulations on being named our 2019 Peace Education Prize laureate. I'd also like to express our gratitude to the award presenters. We have Imam Majid here, Dr. Ingrid Mattson, Hazel Gomez, Dr. Allison Ralph, Dr. Sherman Jackson, and fellow staff members. Thank you all for lending your voices tonight and for flying in from across the country. I would also like us all to recognize the outstanding contributions of our 2019 nominees. Could all the nominees who are here for all 3 awards, the Community Builder, the Fearless Ally, and the Peace Education Prize, please rise so let me recognize you. Keep standing. They all deserve our recognition and gratitude for their leadership, service, and sacrifices. And finally, a moment of appreciation for our event sponsors, Sharik and Monique from Facebook, Ahmed Nassar and the team from NFLPA, and special gratitude to our EHF co-investors like Democracy Fund, OSF, Doris Duke, and others listed in our program. Thank you all for co-investing with us. Thank you all for co-investing with us in building capacity, organizing communities, and creating a more inclusive America. I hope you all enjoy this wonderful evening, enjoy all the powerful stories that are to be shared, and really take it in. Thank you so much. Nice.